molested in drugs, alcoholism, cocaine. Was to a point where had a friend of mine used to inject drugs in my vein, and actually I was lost, but I thought I was doing what would keep me up with the other crowd. I was at time I would be so high, I was afraid to go to sleep. I just want to say that I know God was speaking to me because at time I would go by my mom's house and they'd be showing this movie, The Ten Commandments, and how I would see how they would be crucifying Jesus, Jesus, and I would weep. But I would still continue to do my thing, getting high and drinking and what we call party in the fasting lane. Down through the years, I allow myself to slip into the prison system. We ended up going to prison, and through the prison system, I came to myself as the prodigal son did. Sometimes it take a place where you can only look up, and that would happen to me. I was able to really find myself, and I found myself inside the prison wall, which I thank God for today because I was able to see myself real. And I accept Jesus as my Lord and personal Savior over 20 years ago, and I thank God because it was Jesus who allowed me to see myself, that I was able to let that fast lane go. And I'm testifying today that I am saved, born-again believer, and also have been called into the ministry as a pastor. We thank God for delivering me from the fast lane, and now I can just glorify him in the ministry, doing kingdom work for my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. May God bless you. May God keep you. It's my prayer.
Merry Christmas and a happy to everyone from My Order Footstep by God Ministry. We are looking forward for you to enjoy this parade. Thank you.
And I'd like to thank God for what he is to me and what he's done for me. I want everybody, each and every one, to pray for me. Thank you.
Anyway, 2003 was an extremely tragic year for myself and for my biological children. And after we had our loss, God began to do some phenomenal things through stress and problems. He began to direct us in some. I came down one day to visit with Teresa, who was a friend of mine for quite some time. And God just began to put things together. I actually drove up that day in a green Suburban. The significant part about the car that I was driving, the night before, she had a dream that she was driving the actual same color vehicle, a green Suburban, right? And I pulled up in the front yard driving the green Suburban, not really looking for anything, but just trying to relieve a little hurt and pain. Drove up in the green Suburban. The house was full of people there, and I pulled up on the front lawn just boldly. And the people was in the house, not by me knowing, yelling that was her green Suburban that she had dreamed about and told everybody about in the house. Didn't know that the man was coming along with it, did you, honey?
No, I didn't.
But anyway, as I pulled up with the green Suburban, and we just kind of everybody came out and greeted and was all excited. And by the time I got ready to leave, Teresa walked me to the car. And I had a problem before where a lot of times my first wife, she would be alive, sometimes she wouldn't. And I had a dozen of roses that I'd bought and I placed on the front seat that I was going to give it to my deceased wife. Later on, I remembered that she wasn't alive. And so I had a dozen of roses just sitting there, not necessarily to bring to Teresa, but I had them there. So I told Teresa, I said, these roses I bought for Dolores, who was my first wife. And but since I have them here, I want to just, go ahead and give them to you. And she accepted them, and she took them in the house. And what was they doing when you got in the house?
Kind of singing a little song about the Walker family, a Walker bunch, or something crazy like that.
So they were all making fun, but everybody saw what was happening. To make a long story short, it was a tremendous experience. We had several miracles over the next 7 days, and on the seventh day, we don't even really remember that day, just that God placed us together. We was both going through tragedy in our life, a very tough time, and God placed us together. So even in an incident where breast cancer did end in death, God is still God. So, you may have someone out there that you might lose or that you have lost, or you may be going through some hard times. Just remember, God is still God. And no matter what you face, he is going to make things work out for the good. So, put your hand and trust in his trust, even when you don't know what to do or what to say. There were times when I remember crying and driving down the road, and sometimes I couldn't even see while I was driving because I was crying. So, and I'd pull off the side of the road or whatever. But God just continued to be God. He continued to direct us and to lead us. So, and he's still a healer, because even during a period of time when my first wife was on her deathbed, at the time we didn't know she was on her deathbed because we were believing God for her healing. But she prayed for another lady, and this lady was healed. So, God can do whatever he chooses to do, but we have to continue to believe and trust in him and put our faith where he is, and he's going to work it out. Now we have 9 children. We have 5 girls and 4 boys. We have 1 that we have together, and these children are growing up to be prosperous, productive people, and God just placed it together. So God had an alternative plan that he brought together, and I thank God for it, that he's still God. So no matter what you face, but we're going to be continuing to pray for all of you that are struggling and that are going through these things, that have lost loved ones. Just keep your eyes and trust in him. And I think I will just thank God for Sister Christine again for putting together this this parade here, and just wanting to reach people. She has a heart. God healed her from breast cancer, as you'll know in her testimony. She's healed and she's walking free. So he's still God. And that's one thing that we have to just continue to just remember, that God is God, and he's going to do what he's going to do regardless. So let's just keep trusting in him. Honey, do you have anything else you want to say?
Yes, I'd just like to say on behalf of the Walker family, we'd like to wish you a happy Christmas and a happy New Year. Be blessed. Thank you.